Okay, so today I'm in Somerset with Tom Malone. Thanks very much for agreeing to talk to us today, Tom. You're a Bloodstock agent. You've purchased over 3,000 winners, including a winner of the Grand National, one for Arthur, the Gold Cup, Native River, and Royal Ascot Prince of Wales Stakes, My Dream Boat. Which purchase of any, not just those three, has given you the most satisfaction?
I'd say Native River is probably the one that's given most satisfaction, because he was the first real big star. He'd done things that most horses can't do. He was really tough. He won a Hennessy and a Welsh National in the same season, which has never been done before. And he ran in Cheltenham, I think it's 4 or 5 consecutive years, and he was in the Gold Cup and he won it. He was a hard horse. He was a really hard horse to pass, and he won £1 million in prize money. Not many horses do that ever. Only the greats get to do that.
Okay, now before we go into your current breeding operation, can you tell us a little bit where it all began? I mean, are you from like a horse racing family?
No, absolutely not. I never seen a horse till I was 14. I grew up in a housing estate, and 2 girlfriends on my 14th birthday, which was a Saturday, decided that they were going for a riding lesson and wanted to take me as a birthday present. I had no interest, and after a bit of badgering for half an hour, they said, come on, you must come. So I decided, yeah, all right, go on, let's go. And I got bit by the bug the first time I rode a horse.
What sort of horses were they?
I were only ponies, only hunting horses. I went over, I'll never forget Stan, little Stan he was, a little cracker he was. And after going for 4 lessons, 3 or 4 lessons, weekends on the trot, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks later, I was working there full time. I used to work there every weekend. Every minute I could spend there, hunting and show jumping. I loved it. It was an amazing time. With a family about 7 miles from me in a place called Clara in County Offaly. They were like mum and dad to me, second mum and dad. They looked after me very, very well.
Okay, now I've got all your facts and figures from your UK riding career, but so were you riding in Ireland?
I done a bit throughout. I was pony race champion in Ireland. It was my first dig into racing. So after hunting, I spent 14 to maybe 16, 17 hunting and doing whatnot, and then I decided we needed to go racing. And then I worked for Tom Lacey, and I spent about 1.5 years with him. And then I went to J.A. Quinn, where I was able to get a licence as an amateur. I had a ride for him in a bumper. It wasn't much, but it was nice to get a ride. And then we went to Philip Rothwell's. And before I went to Philip Rothwell's, we went greyhound racing one night, and I met up with Ronnie Began. And Ronnie Began said a very, very interesting piece of information to me. If you're going to shovel shit, shovel it for the best. If you're going to ride, ride for the best. And that stuck with me throughout my career from start to finish now. So then I rang Philip Rothwell, and I went to Philip Rothwell as a conditional, and I got my first ever winner in a little horse called Little Ora in Downpatrick. I had about 100 rides for him. It was lovely. It was a great experience. But I needed to go to England, because unless you were Barry Geraghty or Paul Carberry or Ruby Walsh, you weren't going to make it in Ireland, and I was far from one of them. So I rang Mr. Hobbs, because he'd said, look, Ronnie Began had said, look up who gives their kids the best chances, their conditionals, amateurs, and it was Philip Hobbs. So I rang up, and he said, I've no job for you as a conditional, but I have one as an amateur. So I was an amateur, then turned conditional, and then I turned back amateur to come over to England. And I wasn't here 2 or 3 weeks, and I had my first winner, and I had 5 rides from him and 3 winners. And Dave Roberts took me on. He was my agent to start with, but sure, I got a horrible fall on the gallops one morning, dislocated my shoulder, and I was out for nearly 3 months with that. And once I got back, I was back a week, and I broke my ankle in a fall at Fontwell. So the first 6 months of England was amazing. The second 6 was a disaster. So when I came back, then Philip said that Robert Stevens had taken over as amateur. So it was time, I could stay there and work, but that there'd be very few opportunities for me. And I said, nah, I deserve a bit better than that. So I decided to go home, but I packed up the Fiesta and I went to Fishguard after booking the boat. And I'd say I cried for 2 hours. I was going home a failure. England was after chewing me up and spitting me out. And I was going home after 1 year of failure, and I hated that feeling. That just did not sit well with me. So I took out my horse and trainer book, and this is the phone call that changed my life. I rang Martin Pipe himself. and I asked him, could I have a job? And he said, there'll be no rides, but you can come and work, and if you work hard, maybe down the road something might change, but there'll be no rides. Grand, so what have I to lose? So I went home for a week, came back, and never looked back. I had my first ride from after 3 weeks.
Right, so hopefully I've got my figures right here. Your best season was 2004-2005, 30 winners from 203 rides, so it's a 15% strike rate. For anybody that bets, which is most of the watchers here, £65 profit to £1 stake.
Yeah, one of them was a 50 to 1 shot.
Well,
that helped.
And you've won nearly £250,000 in prize money. So at that point, was your ambition looking forward to be a top jockey?
No, I knew my limitations. I can ride a horse, of course I can ride a horse, but to be elitist and to be the best, you got to have that flair about you, and I just didn't have it. I enjoyed it. I had some great days, and because of Martin Pipe and Pond House, I had some brilliant days. Got to ride in the Grand National, had winners round Cheltenham, got beat a half a length in the County Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. Probably should have won. When I think back about the good rides I got, and it was down to Pond House, I wouldn't have got them anywhere else.
Okay, now I was going to say, was it especially frustrating that you were watching the top jockeys at the yards you were in, but maybe it wasn't then?
Yeah, no, it definitely was, because I'm competitive. By nature, I'm very, very competitive, but I knew my limitations as a jockey, and I'm also clever enough to know that you can be competitive, but you have to know where your ability lies. And I still wanted to get on them, there's no doubt about that, and I always thought, I should be getting more, but maybe looking back, I got what I deserved, and as much as I deserved. But when you're inside the bubble, it's very hard to explain to people that haven't been in that position. When you're inside the bubble of being a jockey, nothing matters outside. You can't see outside, nothing cares. Eat, sleep, and racing. We just up in the morning, ride as many lots, go racing, bang, bang, let's get on a horse, let's get on a horse. Sometimes you're going racing losing money. You didn't care. That's not what you were doing it for. Money will follow if you're successful and whatnot, but it's not till you get outside the bubble and you look back and think, how the hell did I ever do that? And so I had a great time. I met some brilliant people and worked for some brilliant people. That moulded me to where I am now, if you know what I mean, the way they conducted themselves and the way I needed to. And that had a big outcome of my life.
Now you rode a career total in the UK anyway of 70 winners. Must have been. Were you employed by the yard, and was the riding the cherry on the top? Or
yeah, I was employed by the yard
so
as well. So I had a wage. I had a wage from the yard, which stabilised everything. You could still run your family, and but when you think about it, 70 winners. Harry Cobden's on 100 winners this season so far. Lads ride 70 winners in 6 months now, so I don't ever class it as a big achievement, really. I'm delighted I've done it, and I'll never take it away, and it's something that, I got to ride in the Grand National twice, and I got round twice. And
well, tell us about that, because you had the full house of completing the course.
Yeah, I had 2 rides and 2 completes, and that was brilliant. I rode Polar Red. I think he won the Imperial Cup for Stan Clark and Martin Pipe, and ended up over fences then. I got to ride him in the National. It was the year Hedge Hunter won, and sure, he dropped in last or round about the back of the field and just hunted away. He made one mistake in 4.5 miles, the first fence. He nodded. I thought, he's going down. He never did, and then he was like an absolute bunny rabbit after that. But as we went down the side of the course the second time, we get into after Beechers, got to the canal turn, I said, aye, this horse started to take the bridle. When horses were going that way, he started to go that way. And down across the next all them fences down along the side of the course before he turned for home, I arrived up sides on a 250 to 1 shot, Polar Red, beside Hedge Hunter. There was 5 of us in a line, and here I am up on the outside. But he never got the trip. I think he finished with 13th in the end. And the next time I got to ride, I was riding a horse called Milan de Mille, and we used to drop him in all the time. But I knew it was my last year riding, and he was such an amazing jumper. I thought, nah, if we're going out in a blaze of glory. So I jumped off and made it. And for the first circuit, I was about 5 clear, jumping fences, and it was lovely to watch the car and the camera coming, and he was going down. I was loving this horse was letting fly at fences, but he was so accurate, and he jumped the chair in front the first time.
So it sounds the way you're talking that it was an enjoyable experience.
It was an amazing experience. The first time you do it, you don't know. My tongue was stuck to the roof of my mouth. You just don't know what to expect, do you? But I could enjoy it a bit more the second time because I kind of knew what was coming. But you're on a good jumper. It's normally staying out of trouble. That was a very, very good thing to do.
And you rode 5 Cheltenham winners. Were they for Pipey?
Yeah, no, they were for everyone really, and they weren't at the festival. But I rode 3 for Mr. Pipe and 2 for other people. I can't remember who they were, but yeah, some good from there.
Yeah, so during that time, I mean, from the 2008 to 2011, you only had 14 rides, so you're obviously winding it right down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
During that, were you honing your skills at spotting potential in horses? I mean, where were you?
In 2007-8, I started buying a few horses, and one horse that got me going, the first horse I ever bought was Milton the BF, and I bought him out of Ireland after he was handicapped as a 5-year-old, 4 or 5-year-old in Ireland, and then he went for a summer's grass. He came back in, he won a maiden point, and then he won a winner's one. And when my mate rang me up to see if there was anyone in England that could buy this horse, I looked him up. He had a handicap mark of 82, and I went, he's chucked in. I mean, I had him kind of in my head 105, maybe even 110, and I said, grand. So I bumped into Nick Schutz at Utoxeter and I asked him to buy the horse. He rang me the next day and said, yeah, and I said I wouldn't charge him any money for it, but I had to ride the horse, and I had 3 winners on him. I rode his first 3 runs, I won on him, and I thought, so that's where it started to roll, and I just kept my head down and kept rolling, going from sale to sale, and making horrendous mistakes, but learning from them very quickly. It's been an enjoyable journey so far.
So for someone that says you didn't, sort of get involved with horses at all till about 14,
Yeah.
did you sort of have anybody that sort of taught you anything?
No.
Just literally a natural.
No, well, I won't say natural. I would say because it wasn't natural at the start because I got so many things wrong. But I'm adamant, the one thing I've always been good at is I very rarely make a second mistake. I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me. I hate the feeling of it. So I learn quickly. I wouldn't be very clever, but I'd class myself as having a lot of common sense. And there's 2 different types of people there. I'm around a lot of very clever people, and sometimes I think to myself, you've got no common sense, and that's how clever. So I would class myself as having some common sense as such, more so than being very brainy.
Okay, so you hit the ground running with Milton BF.
Yeah.
Is that the moment you decided to go into Bloodstock full time?
Yeah. Or it wasn't even full time, but I was commentating on Point of Points. I remember being at Exeter one day as an amateur, and the commentator never turned up, and there was no commentary throughout the world for the first race, and no one knew why. And then there was a Tannoy message from the stewards asking if anyone in the crowd had done point to point commentating. So I looked at the race card, seeing that the next race was a 4-runner race. I thought, how bad? I'll go out, I'll say nothing. All the boys were in the tea room. I went out, told the stewards I'd done loads of it, which I hadn't. And there was stewards and everyone was around me, oh, thank you very much, thanks for helping us out. Up we go, off I go, do the 4-runner race. And the lads, by all accounts, were wetting themselves in the tea room. So I was only doing it for a bit of tomfoolery. I love having a bit of a joke and a laugh. And grand, I started commentating in the West Country, doing all the point of points. It got me going. I was working for At the Races as well. So albeit I was a jockey, I was doing plenty of other things because I knew it was only going to last for so long. And I love being busy. I love being busy. So I needed to find something that was going to pay the wages, keep my family going. And yeah, so once the Bloodstock started to kick in, I thought, oh, this is a good job now. We can roll with this.